Hey guys, welcome back to Electrical Car Repair Live. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing to the channel. Today will be super helpful video guys if you have a BMW 1 Series guys and any generation 1 Series, any gasoline engine, and you guys have engine misfire. We'll share the top 20 reasons that we see here at the shop that cause engine misfire. Make sure to stay until the end. We'll even share one super simple thing, okay, towards the end that can guys, most of you don't even think about, and that's very common reason that we see here at the shop. So before we start, all the tools and parts that you need to actually fix engine misfire, we'll share the links in the description of the video below, and you can see where we get all our tools and parts from. Another thing, every single car we get at the shop, we make at least 200 free repair videos. Why we do that? Because our mission in the shop is to save you as much money as we can. All we need in return guys, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. That way we can keep providing this free information to you. So let me explain guys what causes engine misfire and what we see here at the shop based on our experience here. So this is actually N52 gasoline engine. That engine can be found in BMW 1 Series, 3 Series, 5 Series, X3, X5, even in Europe 6 and 7 Series guys, one of the most popular engines. But even if you have a 4-cylinder engine, the procedure is practically the same. And before we start, let me guys share one thing with you. This channel right here, How to Repair guys, this is our main channel and we have helped more than 75 million people guys. We have information that can save you thousands of dollars on car repair, so definitely guys, check it out. Now, let's start with the misfire. Number one thing that we see here at the shop, spark plugs. This is quite common guys. Okay, this is your spark plug, and if the spark plug gap is not adjusted, it's too big, too wide or too small, that can lead to engine misfire. Quite often we see that actually at the shop. Sometimes the spark plug get old, worn out, they don't function correctly, you have to replace them. Number two guys, okay, make sure somebody didn't install the wrong type of spark plugs. We had that happen one time, and at certain temperature the car was misfiring, other times it was functioning correctly, but if the engine was getting too hot, they used to misfire. Now, what else can cause guys misfire? Ignition coil. This is actually quite often that we see here at the shop. Bad ignition coils guys, okay, will cause your car to misfire. And I recommend guys to get the original coils. Usually they're made by Bosch because they're a little bit more reliable. Even though we have two aftermarket ones now, we had problems with the connectors connecting them, so I recommend to use the original coils. Everything fits a little bit better and they're a little bit more reliable in the long run based on our experience. Now, what else guys can cause that misfire? You have for ignition coils, and sometimes people will either forget to connect those or they will corrode, they will get dirty. You have ground wires, okay, set of ground wires right here for ignition coil 1, 2 and 3, and you have another set of ground wires, okay, right there for ignition coils. You can see right here 4, 5 and 6. So that guys, okay, that now being said tells us one thing. That you need to check your ground wires, make sure they're not corroded. You have another ground wire that usually comes from, okay, right here you can see it from the car body, okay, usually somewhere to the engine. And always check that ground wire to make sure that it's not corroded as well, because if it is, your engine may not be functioning correctly. Now, that being said, let me tell you guys, okay, what else we see quite often here at the shop. You have mass airflow sensor. This is your mass airflow sensor. It's right after the air filter. What it does, it actually calculates how much air the engine is getting. So if that mass airflow sensor is dirty, it may not be sending the correct reading to the engine computer. For instance, it may read that you're getting, let's say, 5 grams of air per second, but actually you're getting 7. The engine will not know about that 2 extra grams, and that can actually lead to engine misfire, because you will have more air and less fuel in the fuel mixture, and as a result that can result in misfire. Sometimes you can clean those, and we have a video on the channel that explains how to do that. You can find it on the channel guys. It explains how to clean mass airflow sensor. Also, sometimes if you have an aftermarket sensor, make sure that's not the problem. We had that happen a couple of times here at the shop. It was a aftermarket sensor that was causing the problem, and when we installed original sensor, everything was back to normal. So sometimes BMW is a little bit picky about those aftermarket sensors, not always, but it really depends guys on which brand you get to. So that being said, a common thing is guys, vacuum leak. Vacuum leak is some extra air that the engine gets but it doesn't know about that air because it got that air after the mass airflow sensor, and it didn't have a way to calculate how much air it got. Let's say you have a leaking gasket, hose, intake manifold, anything like that can cause vacuum leak, and we have a special video that actually talks about vacuum leaks on BMW, how to diagnose them, how to fix them, so check it out. Very helpful information that can save you guys so much headache. It's a very long detailed video that explains everything about vacuum leaks. Another thing, guys, you need to check your fuel supply. You have fuel injectors. Some engines will even have direct fuel injections. This one is indirect fuel injectors, also known as MPI. Right here you can see you have the fuel injectors. 6-cylinder engine will have 6 fuel injectors, 4-cylinder engine will have 4. And if the fuel injectors, guys, are dirty, they're clogged, weak, or not working, you may get engine misfire. And the only way to figure out about the injectors is to remove and inspect them and test them. We will have a video how to do that on the channel on BMW E82 engine, how to do that, so check it out. Another thing, it could be weak fuel pump that actually does not deliver enough fuel, because if the engine needs a certain amount of fuel but the fuel pump is too weak to deliver that amount of fuel, it will be starving for gasoline and that will cause misfire. Now, it could be also related to fuel pressure regulator. If the fuel pressure regulator is not sending the required amount of fuel, that can happen. Or it could be a dirty fuel filter that doesn't let enough fuel come to the fuel injectors. And you have a special port on most BMWs, okay, 1 Series, where you can actually check your fuel pressure and see if you can eliminate bad fuel filter, fuel pump, and fuel pressure regulator. If you have good, stable fuel pressure at the fuel rail, then you're good to go. So, that being said, guys, okay, what else? Okay, what else can do that? Sometimes, guys, it could be a dirty throttle body. You may have quite a bit of carbon buildup on the throttle body, and we have a video on the channel how to clean throttle body. Check it out. We've had that happen in the past as well. But quite often we see, guys, oxygen sensors. Okay, this is your oxygen sensor right here. Okay, that device down there. This oxygen sensor, 6-cylinder engine will have 2 upstreams, 2 downstreams. 4-cylinder engine in most cases will have 1 upstream, 1 downstream. It actually detects the upstream detects the amount of air and fuel that you still have in the exhaust system. That way, okay, it can tell if the engine computer is doing its job, if everything is working correctly in the engine, to actually have nice running engine, not polluting, and delivering the most efficient horsepower. So, that being said, if the oxygen sensor is not working correctly, it may send the wrong information to the engine computer, and that can actually mess things up and cause misfire. So sometimes bad oxygen sensors or aftermarket oxygen sensors cause that, and we've seen it quite often. Related to that, it could be even bad catalytic converters sometimes. If the catalytic converter is clogged, what will happen, it will not let enough air go through the exhaust system to come out fast enough. As a result, you have too much back pressure, and that will result in misfire. We've seen that happen at the shop here as well. Something else that we see quite often, bad camshaft position sensors or crankshaft position sensors. And we have video on the channel how to actually test each one of those, which is not very complicated. Now, with that being said, guys, okay, those are the camshaft position sensors. Sometimes check to make sure you don't have too much engine oil in the connectors. We clean ours, but if you leak too much oil from the valve covers, okay, what can happen, you can leak oil in the wiring harness, and that can cause erratic behavior. Sometimes they will work, sometimes they will not, and as a result, guys, it can cause misfire. So always check oil leaks, connectors. Make sure that you don't have a broken loose wire, and you can test your camshaft and crankshaft position sensors. And something else that we see, guys, if you have mechanical problem in your engine, for instance, if, guys, you have low compression on one of the cylinders or many cylinders, that can cause misfire. You will need to do compression test. Low compression could be caused by bad valve, piston rings, worn engine, so it could be so many things, even head gasket. And when we talk about head gasket, actually a leaking head gasket that's leaking coolant in one of the cylinders can cause misfire as well, because it will get your spark plug wet, and as a result your spark plug will not fire, and that will count as misfire. and you will even start losing some coolant after a while. So you definitely notice probably that you have a bad head gasket. The car will start overheating as well. So at that point it will be almost not being able to drive the car at all. Now what else it could be? Engine computer. We had that happen in the past. The engine computer has different drivers for the ignition coils. One of ours was bad one time, and I think it was cylinder number 4 was not firing. So as a result, guys, we ended up sending the engine computer for repair. They returned it to us and everything was great. But something simple that we see quite often at the shop, you guys, okay, the spark plugs, okay, remove the ignition coils and make sure the spark plug wells are not actually full of water, because sometimes people will wash their engines, will get them too wet, and if you get that water trapped inside, when the engine gets hot, it will start evaporating and it will interfere with the signal from the ignition coil to the spark plug. As a result, that will end up in misfire. That can also be caused if you have a leaking valve cover gasket between the valve cover and the cylinder head, and you may start putting engine oil in the spark plug hole, and as a result that engine oil will cause misfire. We had that happen, and we even have a video that explains all about that. You have to replace your valve cover. So those are the most common ones that we see here at the shop, guys. Hopefully the video will be helpful. Thank you for watching and see you guys next time.